Hey everyone, it's Jennifer.
And it's Jonio.
We are back at it talking all about working. And today we're going to talk about just all these little awkward little situations that happen at work.
It's inevitable when you work in an office that you'll just have to encounter people, deal with people, and sometimes it could just be a little awkward and just make you question things about yourself. So we're going to explore all of that today.
So the first situation we thought of was those awkward hallway encounters when you have to say hi to people, but that small conversation.
Yeah, and it's you just get up just to go to the washroom or to fill up your water bottle or something like that, but then you always run into someone or you see them approaching you the other way and you're okay, I'm gonna have to address them.
Yeah.
If I'm not gonna ignore them, but what do I say exactly?
Yeah, and it feels almost a little bit rude to not say anything at all, but sometimes I feel it's excessive. You pass by these people in a meeting and then you see them again.
What do you do? Do you just smile or do you just say something quickly? What is it that you do?
Yeah. Sometimes I feel I'm burdening people too. If I say hi, I'm they probably don't even want to get spoken to.
Yeah.
And they probably want to just do their own thing, and it's the same with me. But then
and some people are really naturally just good at it. They're just very social and happy all the time. And they'll just say hi and it's just what they do. But then I feel for me, when I say hi, I'm saying hi because I feel I need to say hi, which makes it awkward. And if I don't say hi, I'm oh, I just feel I totally didn't address the person. That's awkward too. For me, I question why aren't I social enough? Why can't I just make normal little small talk? Why do I have to overthink? What am I gonna say? The second awkward scenario is when you're kind of in a group of people and you're trying to say something to someone, but then you don't say it loud enough so they don't hear you, but the person beside you hears you and knows that you just failed at getting the person's attention.
That happens to me all the time. I think that's the number one thing that happens to me because my voice is pretty quiet. And it's in my head, I think I'm projecting, but I'm not.
Yeah.
And I question whether it's did they actually hear me or did I say something stupid that no one wants to address?
No,
what I
they're
said?
definitely not ignoring you. I think it's just we're naturally more soft-spoken people. Like we were saying before, people command a room.
Yeah.
And maybe we don't command a room, so they just don't hear you. But it's just embarrassing. Even if no one heard you, even if the person beside you didn't hear you, it's still embarrassing just to know that you tried to say something and no one acknowledged you.
Do you do the I know some people do that where after you don't get heard, do you ever say anything under your breath okay, never mind?
No.
Or
No. I don't do that. Just in case someone hears that. I think that's just even more awkward. I
like when people do that. I don't do that myself, but sometimes I hear someone say something and then they're oh, I guess not, never mind.
I guess it makes the situation less more lighter and not so awkward maybe. But I feel I usually just I say it and then I'm thinking inside, I'm having a whole conversation with myself, do I say it again? Do I just let it go? What do I do? But then usually if someone else has already heard me try, I'll try again just because, I don't know, I feel I just left it unanswered and someone saw me left it unanswered.
I usually think of my facial reaction after, and I always try to put on a face of I didn't say anything. People would know that I said anything.
I was in a meeting the other day and someone was kept asking questions, but the way she said it, her voice just projected. The way she was saying it is I am going to be heard when I ask this question. She was conscious of saying it loudly.
The third one is when you go into a performance rating and you rated yourself really high, obviously, and then your manager rates you something lower. And it's that awkward moment where you have to pretend it's all fine, but still defend your yourself, rating at the same time.
Yeah, it's really awkward because it's usually for me, I'll go in prepared. Obviously I know I'm gonna have to defend my rating, and I come in prepared with my speaking notes, but in the moment I feel I just freeze up and crawl back into my hole. And I'm okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. It's while you're doing the rating, I'm so confident. I'm oh, I did this, and I'm ready to defend it.
Yeah, then as soon as you go in the room and they shut it down, it's I go in with the expectation too that I'm gonna get shut down after I say my piece. It's I know that I have my points, but it's almost I make it up in my mind already that if I say it, it doesn't matter because they're gonna come back with something else to shut it down.
I do.
Maybe that's what it
I
is.
already think of someone else's counter argument before I say mine, and then I just am what's the point? Because I already know a counter argument. But some people just really believe in what they have.
Maybe that's the key. Like maybe you just have to like really believe it, and you should too if you're coming up with your points. Like maybe it's just a matter of like preparing yourself before and making sure that you believe it, so that when you say it, you're not worried about what they're gonna say to shut it back down.
Or do you think there's like people that are confident in what they have, but at the same time don't really think of the other side? So it's like they're almost it works in their favor to not think too much.
There's the people that are just like cocky and overconfident, where it's like even if what they're saying doesn't make sense, they'll still like push. But then there's also like, I don't know, people who are not like that, who just have to make sure that they really believe in what they're saying. To sell it.
I'm really bad at confrontation, that I'll even like help out the other side to not feel that embarrassment. So like when my boss is like, oh, I think it's this, I'm like, oh, okay, yes, that's fine, yes, okay, yeah, no worries. And my voice like goes higher and it's like quieter, and it's like, then I go back to my desk. I'm like, oh, why did I do that?
I hate those situations because I go back after and I regret it so much. I'm like, I wish I could just like go back and like defend it. Then you have to live with the poor rating when you didn't even like believe in it.
Exactly.
The whole way through.
And then I like just think like, how am I gonna get things in life? Or, like even if I ever want like a raise or a promotion, it's like you're never really gonna get things in life unless you fight for it and like be able to like sit in the awkwardness.
But at least you try to defend your point, because like, at the end you'll still walk away with not getting what you want, but it's like at least you'll feel better because you know you tried to like, you know, get what you want. But it's like when you don't even try to get what you want, then it's just like you feel a lot of regret. I think.
Do you think it's a sign that you don't really respect yourself if you can't deal with confrontation to like fight for what you want?
I think so. I think if you don't even try, then it is a sign that you don't like respect or believe in yourself enough to actually put yourself out there and push for what you want. So the next scenario is when you have like a surprise party. It could be like your birthday or, you know, whatever the situation is, and then you go and then you have to give like the thank you speech, but then you don't really know what to say, so you kind of just say thanks. Okay, everybody, like let's eat. I find that happens so much. Like that just happened the other day to someone. They were like, thanks guys, grab a donut.
This one time I thought it would be better to say like something like, if you can't think of something, like I was like, I should just like try and make an effort to like just like extend like a nice greeting. And it like totally backfired and I think sometimes it's like, if you don't know what to say, just don't say anything at all.
It's true. Sometimes that's definitely
it's like, it's already bad, just don't make it any worse.
And I think it just goes back to like the whole social thing that we were saying. Like you just question like, why can't I just be like more naturally social and like outgoing and be able to just like talk like other people? Just
be like sincere and be real. Like some people are just so real, and then it's like people like that about them. So the fifth awkward moment is when you're on your computer and you want to be browsing something else instead of your work, but you like set up your screens perfectly so you can do that like alt shift and then like go like change your screen if someone like comes up from behind you. But it's like that awkward moment when you are browsing the internet and someone comes up and like already sees your screen and you like shift the screens. And it's like both people know that you weren't doing real work, and you kind of have to like carry on the conversation like everything is normal, you were working this whole time.
Meanwhile, you both know that the elephant in the room is that you were not just working. That is definitely awkward, because then you just feel like they just caught me in a bad moment and now they're gonna always think that I'm just like, you know, browsing the net and not doing my work.
And then it's like I feel like I'm being extra shady. Like they're like, oh, why doesn't she just own that she wasn't doing anything? Why did she like switch her screens?
It's just the fear that you are misinterpreted and like that you gave the wrong impression. That's not really you.
Not like you do go above and beyond, it's just not in that moment.
So I think like one of the main things to take away from all these awkward situations is to kind of just like accept that they're awkward, because this is always gonna happen. Like it's the office life, you're gonna experience it and it's gonna happen over and over and over again.
It's such surface level things, and I think when you start questioning like deeper core part of you, it's just gonna eat you up. So it's like just keep it at that, like just something happened that's funny and awkward, and move on from it.
Exactly, it's funny. So like I think find the humor in these situations, because they actually are like funny situations. Like when you think about like the awkward surprise party speeches and stuff, like it is funny. So I think just find humor in it and just like laugh it off.
Don't take yourself too seriously.
And usually when people sense that you're kind of more confident, then they won't think anything of the situation. But if you make it really obvious that it was awkward and like I don't know, like people usually will feel sorry for you, and then they're gonna notice, right? Because then you're being all weird about it.
I see like some of the most confident people at work and them get into awkward situations, and I find that like I don't even think much about it, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that's awesome or whatever. But I can see like when someone else who's a little bit more like takes it to heart, and like I could tell it eats them up. I'm like, that just makes it more awkward.
Yeah, because then you think about it more. You're just making the person think about it more. So then I think you just need to like brush it off like nothing happened, and just like own that it's awkward and just keep going.
Yeah, exactly. I find that whenever I think a lot about myself, most of the time people aren't thinking about me, and whenever like it's two people in an awkward situation together, it's like everyone is thinking of themselves and how they're awkward, and they're not even thinking of like that person is awkward.
They're not really paying that much attention to you.
Yeah, we talked a lot about just being social and just doubting yourself, and I think you just want to like, I don't know, that like I think about this a lot because I think I'm like, should I be more like extra? And I think one thing that I say to myself a lot is, if I'm just like authentic, that whenever I do speak to people, it doesn't have to be like the loudest voice, but like my one-on-one interactions with people is just genuine. When I smile, I genuinely mean it. And I think like over time, people like get a feel for who you are, and they know your true colors.
Because people like people who are real. So I think you should just like be yourself, and like you shouldn't be, you know, extra loud or like extra confident and cocky just because you think that louder people get farther, because that's not always true. I think people who are themselves get farther. Like people who just like own themselves and they're confident and they believe in themselves. Those are the people that get farther. So I think like you could be quiet, and that's fine. I think you just need to be like nice genuinely to people, and they'll appreciate that.
And there's nothing wrong with being loud too. You can also be loud but authentically loud.
Exactly.
So we hope that you guys could relate to our videos, and we want to hear all of the awkward situations that you guys face at work. So comment below, let us know, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to our channel if you want to keep hearing more.